All right. Got it. Can I do the same thing?
Should be able to.
I mean, it's already recording.
Yeah.
Damn it, now I have to pee.
Go pee.
All right, let me put that away. Yeah, all right, 1 sec. Keep that on the video.
It's on there. Pee break.
A few moments later.
Hold on. I got to run down there now.
Okay.
I'm going to see. Hold on.
Still recording. Mm-hmm.
3 weeks later.
All right, dude. I'm ready when you are.
You ready?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like 3, 2, 1, and I'm just gonna start talking.
How weird is that? It's like we've just gone back to the first time ever.
Well, I think I'll just pretend like I can get the sound in post production. So I'm like, welcome back, Chase Ingram, awkward pause, Bill Grundler, awkward pause, and then afterwards, like, all right. Well, I hope that worked.
That's funny.
All right.
All right.
Let's give it a shot. All right, ready?
See what happens. Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Get With The Programming. I'm Chase Ingram, and along with me is Bill Grundler. And I really hope all of this...
That actually was pretty good, man.
I really hope...
listening in my head, and I'm like, okay, that's about the right time. It's about the right time frame.
Right timing and tempo. I'm at home. I actually just got back from Bill's neck of the woods. I was out in Santa Cruz, California for a couple days and testing out some new gear I have at home because usually I record at the gym, which Bill is at his affiliate right now, CrossFit Inferno. And I was like, hey, let's record at home. I got some new gear. Let's test it out, see how it sounds. And then I realized that I forgot all the other things like, I don't know, sound bites and all the important things you need to be able to record a podcast.
America.
Yeah. Wolverine. So if that was a really awkward intro with no music and no sound bites.
It'll all be added afterwards. Post-production.
Maybe.
Post-production.
Yeah. And if I didn't do it in, then just pretend like, it was a normal intro sing the hum the song to yourself. But we are here for our Analyzing the Programming series, the 2015 regionals. So we just finished 2014. Rich Froning has retired from individual competition and the men's mantle is open. And all eyes turn to a young man named Matt Fraser coming out of the Northeast region. But we have 7 new tests to decide what the field is going to look like in Carson, California. And Bill, this was a year where, it was a new landscape with new athletes.
Yeah.
A lot had kind of changed. And a big thing that changed as well was scoring system. We're going from point per play scoring system that we've used since 2007, whether it was games, regionals, or to now, to this, basically the point system that we basically have today.
Which is, I mean, it was a great jump. It was something that needed to happen for sure. But, and I'm not going to lie, like the scoring system has always been a rough deal because you will, no matter how you design it, you're going to live and die by that design. And no matter where you draw that line, someone is going to get screwed. Doesn't matter how you do it. If you go point for place, if you do a percentage system, if you have a modified percentage system where it changes based on the number of athletes and the number of events you have, whatever the system is, wherever you draw the line, there's going to be that bubble athlete that gets screwed. And so it's really, I think, difficult to say, oh, we're doing it this way. Now we've figured it all out, because we end up coming at the end. It's like, well, Did you figure it all out?
Did you?
Did it really work out that way? It's really hard to say. So it gets, as we get more and more objective with the scoring, there is still going to be subjective elements to it of, and not did someone get a certain number of points, but was it the right way to score?
Yeah.
But again, I think that this is, we really start making some big strides in the middle of our regional career time here, between like the beginning of, when regionals first started and then up to the current setup, is we started making some very aggressive attacks of wanting to up our professional game as far as making it a true competition and making it a correct competition and getting the right people to the right places as they get going. So I think, the fact that they did this, and it also, the other thing here is that it made the regional athletes feel like games athletes.
Yeah.
And now it was like you were a somebody if you were competing in the regional realm.
Oh yeah. I mean, we used to say this back in 2015, where the regional athletes of this era would have been winning the games.
Oh yeah.
3 years prior.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's leveled up because of the programming as it's evolved.
Right.
We said in 2012 it was the heavy regionals, and then 2013 was a little bit more of the same, and then 2014 was that hard pivot to not an overdose of gymnastics, but definitely a heavy emphasis on gymnastics. And then this year, I think we hit a pretty good blend, and we'll go through this.
Yeah.
Of a little bit of everything. And just like any sport, as we evolve, it gets a little bit better every year. We learn from our mistakes, we learn from our successes, and that's what the programming tends to do. But before we get into analyzing the programming, we want to thank our sponsors, Bubs Naturals. Bill, I do a really bad job of bringing Bubs with me on the road when it's built in there for me to take it on the road. Because you think about the MCT oil powder and the collagen protein and the gummies, like they have single serving packets of this. I can pack a bunch of gummies in like a Ziploc bag of the apple cider vinegar and go to California. And then maybe after I leave California, I may have a different baggie of gummies that don't have quite the same properties as the apple cider vinegar. But I forgot to pack it, so I've been bubbless for 2 days. And the first thing I did this morning, I arrived at like 11:15 at night back in Dallas last night. I had to coach the 5 a.m. and I wasn't upset at all because I got to wake up 4:15 in the morning and get Bubs back into my life. So I was super stoked about that. So if you guys want to get Bubs into your life, you want to wake up early, it's something to wake up early for. Go to bubsnaturals.com, use the code GETWIT20 for 20% off. Every order, every single time, and know that you're donating to a good cause because 10% of all their profits go to a charity of their choice. Bill, we're talking here. I got a care package. I don't think care package is the right term to use for what I just got from Element 26. I got I felt like I won a lifetime supply.
Well, if you got all of mine, I'm going to be pissed, man. I'm going to be pissed.
They're like, hey, we got some, obviously we're obsessed with their thumb tape. Best thumb tape on the market, super sticky, doesn't leave a residue when it comes off, but it stays on through your entire workout. And it's super, super flexible with that flexible fabric that they use. And that's how we got started with them. We needed some thumb tape, and I've always wanted to work with a company that has that. Element 26 drops in our lap, and they become a partner of the show. Be like, hey, we want to send you some thumb tape. I was like, cool. I could use some more, running low. And I got this box, and it's like, it was like 8 packs of their 5-packers. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I started wondering, do I ask them for too much? And they're just like, here, take this and shut up for a couple months.
Might be the case. That might be the case. But I'm telling you what, if my packs are in your pack, I'm gonna be pissed.
Oh, hey, I'll be overnight delivery.
I can't have naked thumbs, man. I cannot have naked thumbs.
Nobody wants naked thumbs.
I gotta clothe my thumbs for my workouts.
If you guys want to clothe your thumbs, go to element26.co. That's .co, not .com. Element26.co. Use the code GETWIT15 for 15% off every U.S. order. And it's not just the thumb tape. You got the hand grips. You got the weight belt. You got the knee sleeves. We talked about the grips all the time. And they have that rubber style grip that just sticks to your pull-up bar. And some reviews are like, these should be illegal. There's like the classic review from a lot of athletes. So until they are, keep getting them. Use that code. Get yourself a discount. And as we get closer, we got Dubai CrossFit.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming up. Wadapalooza just announced they're going to have a free live stream for the first time. Thank the Lord.
Seriously.
Thank the Lord. And so if you guys want to get your pretty face on a live free stream TV at Wadapalooza, you got to make sure you hit those qualifiers, but you got to be legit when you do it, which means you need some proof of that performance.
Got to have that WOD proof. We get that WOD proof app to get that proof in. And you're right. We're at the beginning of all the online qualifier stuff. So, I mean, they're all out there right now. All the Masters ones, the regular ones, all the early start of the season stuff. So if you don't have that app, you need to get that. Yes, there are a couple other ones out there, but this is the one you got to get. Not only are they a great app with the right setup, and they put the cool little logo down the bottom, and they'll have the predetermined workouts, based on the different qualifiers or whatever it is that you're doing. But they don't just stop right there. They have connections with so many other brands, so that as you record these, whether it's just your own recording for Instagram, famous stuff or not, or it's one of the qualifiers, you get coins which add towards discounts to these other brands that they partner up with on the first part. The second thing, they just want you to be better, period. So they have their Pro Pack, which allows you access to all of these different 12-week programs that they have. Doesn't matter if it's gymnastics or master stuff. I have stuff on there. Or if you want to get better at rowing or motor stuff, you could do that. Weightlifting, you name it. They have a program out there for you. And even if you just want to become a better coach, for $9.99 a month, you can check out their Pro Pack and get all the access to all of that stuff. And if you use our special code, GET WITH, because that's what we do. We get with stuff. You'll get a 20% off a 3-month subscription. So it ends up being like, what is that? Like $6 or whatever, which is an unreal deal to
basically free.
I mean, come on.
Basically free.
You up your game on so many different levels with that it really is a no-brainer. So between the 3 partners that we have, you got your nutritional part, you got your equipment part, and now you got your mental part with all your programming and everything else. I mean, you will become a complete person and just become awesome. So just become awesome.
We want to thank our partners of the show. And now let's get into analyzing the programming of the 2015 regional edition. And we always try to play the games like, can you predict what's going to happen? Can we get inside the mind of Dave Castro? And one thing we've seen happen so far is that the first event is one of those, you watch like a movie, right? And the opening scene's like super intense, like explosions and like it draws you in. I think we get another one of those with event 1 because it's fast, furious, simple, and that's Randy. 75 power snatches at 75 pounds for the men, 55 pounds for the women. And another benchmark workout to start the weekend.
Yeah, and I tell you what. So, okay, Randy's been around for a while. Like when I first thought of Randy, my first thought was Josh Everett back in the day, working with the sheriffs and the PD guys when they're trying to work it. And that generally, the tempo at which they were working back then, kind of was the tempo that like is what stuck in your head.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you just said earlier in the show that like the athletes of these regionals would be winning the games in the prior years. So now that look of Randy is 100% different.
Yeah.
Like the tempo that these athletes could now move, the rep sets that they could do unbroken, and the times that they were getting were out of control. So it doesn't seem like it should be a big explosive bam, wow, here they are.
Yeah,
but man, it came out that way,
dude,
for sure. It was so fast.
It was so fast. And it was one of those, and we said that with Jackie, or any benchmark workout that you throw at an elite group of individuals. And I think last time we talked about that a regional setting may yield actually better overall performances around the world as far as top times than maybe even a game setting, because you have more specialists
in
the regional field that are elite at what they do only than you would at the CrossFit Games.
Totally. Yeah.
And so when you see things like Jackie and the regional athletes turn Jackie into a row sprint, like, well, that sucks. Or Diane, like, I didn't know that having to break 2 minutes was now a standard of which to have a good Diane time. By the way, Dan Bailey did it with strict handstand push-ups, which I don't know that was like physically possible to do. And now we have Randy, and what Randy essentially has now turned into is just 75 muscle snatches.
Totally.
Without, unbroken.
Unbroken.
At the regional level, if you wanted to be top 5, you could not put the bar down, and did you have to advance every 15 reps?
It was either that or 25. They had a number where you had to advance, which was great because then it really, it hyped up the excitement.
Oh yeah.
On the floor. Everyone was excited anyway, but to see that where, again, it's the version of, being at the carnival and you're trying to fill up the water bottle with
the little
balloon with the squirt gun, and so you see that like kind of as everyone's kind of tinkering around, and that's what you end up seeing here. And again, with it being so fast, and everybody has done snatches, all the CrossFit fans have done snatches at whatever weight, and now this even makes it even more relatable to the entire community because it's so light. 75 pounds, 55
that's
pounds.
true.
So it isn't like they're going out and they're like, okay, we'll see this later, but like, all right, a 1 rep max snatch. Everyone's 300 pounds or something, like, yeah, it's cool. I have no idea what that's like.
No.
I have no idea what that's supposed to be like. But this, most athletes, I coach athletes that are in their 60s even, and they can do 75 pound snatches. Maybe not 75 of them in 6 minutes or anything, but like they can do that. So it's very relatable. It was an awesome first choice.
And it's just great races, right? Because this isn't a strength test or a gymnastics test. It's just work capacity in a movement that everybody can do, as you said, with super lightweight. And it's a benchmark workout. So you really you definitely get more emotionally invested when you see something that now raises and sets the bar for what we think is a fast standard. I think this was Brooke Wells' coming out party.
It was. And this was this event right here, Travis Williams.
Oh, yes, that's right.
I got this new way. I got this new technique. And that, like, literally every single thing that he has done since then connects to this event. Like the way he moves, the way he he'll go just, all out, whatever it takes to go as fast and as hard as he can. He's going to implode or he's going to win. It all comes from this event and how oh, man.
That's a good point. I feel like Travis Williams still feels like he's doing Randy every event that he does.
Every event. That's what I mean.
Where'd he go?
Every single one.
That's funny.
It's awesome.
So that was super fun. And it provided some really fun races because there wasn't a whole lot of separation with your top athletes, right? 75 at 75 and 55. And so, you saw athletes, okay, are they going to drop the bar in advance? Or are they going to keep it over their head in advance? And every time someone walked overhead and advanced to the next set, the crowd just was like,
going crazy.
Yes! Do it! Don't put it down. And then you would just see, and it just buried people, those last 10 reps. 75 now looks like 135 at the end to say like Isabel. And we just got some great races. And it was a heck of a way to start the weekend with something so fast, so flashy.
Yeah. One thing that I think is tough though, I think it's a great, we'll talk about the overall program, of the whole event at the end, but it's a great programmed event. I do think that it puts a lot of strain on your judge. Which all of a sudden now, if you get a no rep on this, that's a costly no rep over the course of the speed at which these athletes have to be able to go. The judges, bless their hearts, these guys aren't all level 1 seminar staff where they get
they're volunteers.
They're volunteers. That's a lot of pressure to put. Here are some names, athletes that want to get into the games. There's a lot of pressure on them, and all of a sudden they're going to start saying no rep. Or you didn't stand up all the way, or the thing where you have a judge is letting an athlete go ahead, and then all of a sudden the head judge comes up behind them, and then they start over judging. So there's a lot. There's a lot of judging issues that could happen on this particular event. I would never say that the event is wrong to put in, but I do think that it does end up walking a fine line, because now it's not the programmed. Right. You could have something, a very extraneous variable that changes. Yeah. The test do what it needed to do, even though on paper, like this would be it's a great thing, but it could not even be your fitness that kind of throws it down. So I love the event. I've just thrown that out there as a piece.
No, but that's true.
Look at it,
I mean, how many times have we had that variable in the first event? 2011, maybe not so much because we weren't as fast at handstand push-ups as we are the year after, but 2012, Diane. Yeah. Handstand push-ups and deadlifts. Good luck.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Good luck. 2013, Jackie. Yes, you start with 1,000-meter row, and then it was 50 empty bar thrusters and chin over bar pull-ups of just like a mad mash of just like intensity. Yeah. And then you have this. So that's a very good point. Again, no love for the judges on on the first event of the program.
I would have been like, I'm out. I don't want to play this game anymore.
It's like, what are we doing?
Make me be a judge.
Yeah, I'll judge the last 25 reps where they're going a lot slower. So we go from benchmark event Randy to benchmark event for event number 2, Tommy V. And if we were wondering what the rope climb edition would be, we had in 2013 it was 6 rope climbs or 8 rope climbs, and then in 2014 it was the 10 legless, right? And we've seen the advance of handstand and push-ups over those years. She was like, I wonder what's going to be this year, and like, I don't know, how about 27 rope climbs? And so Tommy V, 21 thrusters at 115 and 75, 12 rope climbs. 15, 9, 9, 6. And yeah, you got 45 thrusters, but this was straight rope climbs.
Oh man.
When the moderate to lightweight thruster is break time for the event, then there is definitely an overpowering component to this event. Oh man. But I like Tommy V.
Well, I thought
it's a classic.
It is a great event. It harks back to, I mean, honestly, like the core of what CrossFit has been, a Fran type event where you have a thruster and a pull up of some sort, thrusting and a pulling. And it definitely does that. And you're right. The thruster, everyone just did the thrusters and they raced the rope climb because I knew that that's what it came down to. So your rope climb athletes, the Easy Mohammeds, the China Chos, the Hygea, Sam Briggs, all of those style of athletes, all of a sudden now this was, they made those rope climbs look so easy and they moved so fast, and the tempo that which they would go, and you'd watch how fast they would come down and be right back up. And like, no way.
Yeah.
No way. They just did 6 or 8. Looked like they were just like, they rebounded right off the ground. It was crazy. Super cool event though. I loved it.
Yeah. And it was basically hero day.
Yeah.
These aren't girl benchmark workouts. These are hero benchmark workouts. And so I thought the cool thing that they did on this day was that they actually made, every event announcement had a, what is Randy? Who is Randy?
Yeah.
Why are we doing it? Who's Tommy V? So that was a really cool thing that they did. Every regional was they did a little tribute video.
Yeah.
I remember prior to each event going down. So it's cool to have benchmark workouts. It's also important to make sure that they fit within the scheme of the test.
Yep.
We'll see how that unfolds as the weekend unfolds as well. But Tommy V was cool to have in there, but yeah, that volume of rope climbs to throw at these athletes. And just another one of those things that Dave will throw. He's like, listen, if you can do 10 legless with sprints, you would throw your legs in there as like double it plus some. That seems pretty doable. But the things that took me by surprise was specifically China Cho, because we were broadcasting this region SoCal.
Yeah.
I think we're still all split up. Or did we combine yet?
I
think we're still. Did we combine regions yet?
I think we did. We did because this was, I think it was a race between China and Jamie.
Oh, yeah.
So we did have.
And Brooke Entz was in this region.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe this was the first combo year. Was this the first combo year when we started?
Yeah, I think it was.
I want to think. Anyways,
15.
China Cho, where I was like, oh, this is your jam.
Yeah.
I remember that. You know who else was really good was Alethea Boone.
Oh yeah, she was
very good at rope climbs.
Yeah. Crazy.
But yeah, it was a cool day one. You know, so you got your, light power snatch, ground overhead one move with Randy, high intense, like light yourself on fire intensity.
Right.
Squat press with the thruster, almost kind of its counter, not counter movement, but like the pull, and you're still using your legs in the same squat movement pattern.
Right.
As you do this, and just like a bulk set event to close out day number one.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was a great first day. It was a great first day.
It's a good first day, and then we shift towards Saturday. And the first event of Saturday, there tends to always be a chipper.
Yep.
In the chippers in the past, we're like, okay, the hundreds chipper of 2011, and then you had in 2012 they had two.
They did have two that year. That's right. Because we wanted
they had two in 2013.
We wanted to cut one of them out.
2012 was what was 2012's chipper? I forgot. Was it just the back squat, front squat, overhead, pull up one? That was our chipper that year. No, it was the row pistol hang power clean.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of two chippers. Nah. Row pistol hang power clean one. 2013, they had the beefed up hundreds workout.
Right.
And then the chipper with the handstand push-ups double unders. So they had two that year.
Yeah.
And they've always been okay. 2013s were okay, but we would rather pick one or the other.
Yep.
2012's chipper was basically the finale.
Right.
So there was two.
Right.
And then the one we loved the most was 2014.
Yeah.
Which was the 50s chipper.
Right.
The ring dips in the middle. And then we come to 2015. And this was, I'm a big chipper fan. I'm a big fan of the chip. I did not, and I have not done this chipper. It starts off with a mile run, and then we go to 50 overhead squats at 135 and 95. And you're like, okay. And then 100 GHD sit-ups, 150 double unders, 50 sumo deadlift high pulls, and then 100 box jump overs.
Yeah.
And this was brutal.
Yeah.
In so many weird ways. And usually, like, as you see the chippers unfolding, like, okay, I see why we're doing that to affect that and maybe build onto that. Like, we saw that last year was like row, box jump over, cool. Deadlift, a little pull, wall ball, and then ring dip. Like, okay, I can see where that all kind of messes with each other.
Right.
Even in 2013 on the hundreds one, it was what? Wall ball, chest bar, pull up, pistol. And then those three totally screwed up your dumbbell snatches.
Right.
I get it. This one was like,
I don't get it.
I don't understand. I'm the guy slowly raising his hand in the back of the class. I'm like, can you explain why we're doing this, please?
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that, like, all right, it's got the chipper feel to it. It's kind of, the up and down with the numbers. All right, I can sort of see those. I get it that we have, our longer time frame. So this is our long one of the entire competition.
Right.
But it's very weird how and what was picked in the order that it was picked. Like a mile run, okay. 50 overhead squats. I like overhead squats. So I like that piece of it. The 100 GHC sit-ups, I get, because we haven't done anything like that where it was that many at one shot. I understand that. It was very interesting watching the athletes, seeing how they had to, or how they did deal with that. Watching how they would, adjust or sitting or stand all the way up so they can get the blood back in their legs, because of the blood that was, draining from their legs. They're getting, shunted. That was a weird one. And then, double unders, that just seemed to be the weird top of the pyramid, and then you work your way back down. The sumo deadlift high pull, okay. We haven't really done anything like that at least not a regional competition, not that heavy and not that many.
That is a heavy. That is a heavy sumo deadlift high pull.
For that many? Heck
for
yeah.
50 reps?
Yeah. I mean, I have done those. I get it. I know that, you end up finding different ways of pulling that where you kind of get it up to your leg and kind of pop it off your hips a little bit. So you're really not pulling straight from the ground. You're doing it almost like a clean without curling your arms and, with rotating your elbows out. I mean, so you kind of mess with that, but it was very odd. And then the box jump overs. I mean, that's when Julie Fouché, that's when her Achilles went out was on that one. So we saw the box jump thing there. The number, I don't know. It was all over.
I'm just like watching you spin in circles right now.
It was like all over the place. I mean, you definitely didn't color within the lines on this one. I mean, it was kind of, I don't know how the things connected. I didn't really see. I mean, okay, overhead squats, that's midline. Then you have your GHD. Okay, midline, double unders. Maybe the double unders after the run. Maybe. I don't really know. The sumo deadlift seemed kind of odd. Maybe that would sort of take over the box jump, but the box jump's more big ones. Dude, it's a very discombobulated workout. It feels like you're standing at the board and like, well, all right, everyone this is like what you do at like some class. Everybody
hopper.
Give me a movement.
Yeah,
okay, good. Okay, and what about you? Okay, good. We'll put them all together. All right, let's make the numbers look okay, and then we're good to go.
Yeah,
that's all it ended up being. I don't know. I don't really figure it out.
Each one of these pieces is pretty gnarly by itself. I mean, the mile run, they use a true form for the first time.
Yeah, ew.
So people had to learn that, and that annihilates your calves if you've ever run on one of those, especially the first time, because it forces you into a good running position, which is off the ball of your foot, not heel striking, which everybody does.
Right.
But 50 overhead squats, I love those too, but that's a lot of overhead squats at 135 and 95.
Yeah. Yeah.
Off of a mile run. The 100 Ghc Sit Ups, I'm just like, wow, okay. And then the 150 double unders, I'm like, okay, well, my calves are pretty smoked already from the mile run, so this is going to feel great. And then high pulls, look, it's in the level 1 seminar.
Yeah.
Right? It's part of that day 3 breakout group that transitions you from that deadlift to the clean because it uses that transfer of power from pull to a dynamic movement. I get its place, not at that weight. And it showed once, and you talked about making it hard for the judge. A sumo deadlift high pull. I mean, nobody, and I know why Dave would throw it in there, because like nobody's doing these anymore.
Well, yeah, and everyone was complaining. That was one of the pieces around this time where everyone's like, dumbest movement ever created.
Yeah. Oh, it's so stupid. I'm like,
ever created. You should never do that. It's terrible for your shoulders. This is bad and that's bad. I think literally that piece was all right, well, here, bite on this for a while.
Yeah, for a while. It's like I'm doing 50 single reps of a 50 sumo deadlift high pulls. And it's like, okay, is it where? And the poor judges is like, okay, where does the bar go? I'm watching the bar, but what was his knees doing? Or it was just a mess. And then the box jumps at the end. This was one of those, not unlike the hundreds workout from 2013, where we said it was just so hard.
Yeah.
That it was almost too hard that it wasn't fun to watch.
It looked like you put people just in a grinder and just watch them
exactly, a meat grinder. And maybe that's why that's why the chipper name is in there. Like you get put through a wood chipper. Like we get it. It's like, okay, well, good job, you did that. But for me, when I was watching this, there wasn't any excitement. And not that you program for the visual, that you should. I mean, it's a piece, and Dave says that it's important to him more often, especially now. But like, dude, when this event came up and we had to broadcast this, and we're doing like 3 different regionals, I was like, can we just do the last heat? Please. Hey, can we like flip a coin between men and women? Because I don't want to sit here for 26 minutes where 8 to 9 of them are just watching people run on a machine.
Yeah.
Or do sit-ups. And this is before we had live scoring at the regional level. Unless it was at like, we'd always do one region where it was our games tester. So we test out all the equipment and they're like, all right, now it's super fun. But yeah, this one, you know what it feels like? It feels like they programmed this event last. Like, hey, let's do all these. And it's like, oh, we need a chipper. Yeah. This is very reminiscent of the 2012 finale. But way harder.
I mean, okay, if you're programming a training schedule and you're programming for like stamina, I could see it. But if you're racing and you're trying to have a race, like this would have been, I mean, okay, use the exact same thing, and I would break this up into like rounds of something. I would have changed it that way and make it either, even if you want to race them, cut everything in half. Yeah, you know what I mean, like 800 meters and then 25, 50, 75.
Kind of like what we did in 2013.
Yeah,
I mean, suggestion we had there.
It wouldn't be. I mean, obviously, it would be a lot faster. But if you wanted it to be the long one, instead of making it sort of Murphish, like what this is sort of set up to be, make it, cut it in thirds and then make them do 3 rounds of it or something, or cut it in quarters and make it do 4 rounds of whatever. Yeah. So that at least the intensity of the pieces are up. Like everyone was great on the GHDs to 50.
Yeah.
And then it was like, you have these badass athletes that are doing sets of 5. Same thing with the sumo deadlift, that everyone was great to 25. And then all of a sudden, like that last, 20 or whatever, it's like, I mean, even big ass strong dudes like Sam Dancer they weren't doing 50 unbroken. Yeah. It really slowed everything down. And I just think you can get the same volume, you can make it still have your long time frame set up, but just make it different. I don't know. I mean, I guess technically it wouldn't be chipper other than the fact it's got over 4 moves, but I don't know, whatever. It just seemed like this was just a weird way to put it together. And you're right. I agree. It feels very, when you have all these other events that are on here, like, yeah,
crisp, clean, cool.
Oops.
And then you're like, okay. And I'm trying to wrap my head around it. It's like, look, if you just like, listen, I just want to go long, super high volume and just challenge these guys in a weird way that they're not used to. Okay, mission accomplished.
Yeah, done. Did that.
Yeah. Which honestly, if we're talking about programming, is like, okay, just because it's not visually appealing and the numbers look weird because our habits or just what we're used to.
Yeah.
I get it. It was just when you watch this, because a lot of times when we see something on paper, we have a different feeling about it. And then when it unfolds in front of us, we're like, okay, that went way better than I thought it was going to. This one, you look at it on paper, you're like, I don't understand this. And then you saw it unfold on the floor, you're like, yeah. No, that's going to be a no for me, dog. All
right, gladiators, who made it through this? This just assault. Yeah.
So, okay. So that was event 3. That was our long event. And then we come to event 4 and we have last year, it was 1 attempt. We had 3 minutes to walk as far as you could on your hands unbroken.
Yep.
There was a lot of blowback based off how some athletes fared because of the rule of if you come down, you're done. And so Dave comes back, programs nearly the same exact event. 250-foot handstand walk, which is a down and it's a back. 4 time. And you could come down to whenever you want as long as it's within 5-foot increments.
Yeah.
If I remember. And it's basically for time.
10-foot increments. 10 foot.
10-foot increments. And he took the fall out of it. He's like, okay, hopefully, guys, you've learned your lesson. Let's see how you've performed. And then we come back to that. So we have our isolated gymnastics test. How close were 4 and 5 to each other?
1 minute and 40 seconds. Why did it pick that? I don't know. It says event 5 begins 1 minute and 40 seconds after this event ends.
So we have the handstand walk before the snatch, where in 2014 it was the hang snatch
Right.
before the handstand walk. And then you move to event 5, and athletes have a 20-second window to attempt a max snatch with only 2 athletes lifting at a time. How many reps did they get? First attempt. They can relift in that 20-second window. And I'm trying to see how many they got.
I have a 20-second window to 2 at a time, 3, 2, 1. Lift. The snatch will be lifted. After all athletes have made an attempt, each will have another second. So I think you only get 2.
Oh my gosh!
You get 2 20-second windows.
That's right. So you got 2.
Yeah.
You got 2 attempts, and we did this again. We've already done this.
Yeah.
We've already done this a few times. Like 2012, we had a snatch ladder. 2013, we had an overhead squat. 2014, we had a snatch with a handstand walk back to back. And then 2015, we're doing it again.
Yep.
I would have liked to see something new. As we still have 2 more events to come up on Sunday, so that might change the way we do things or look at it. But, we snatched, technically we snatched in event 1. But it's different, right? It's an isolated barbell movement for high rep cycling at lightweight. This is an isolated barbell movement with 2 reps at a heavyweight.
Max weight, yeah.
After a handstand walk race, after a kitchen sink chipper. Right, so you're testing strength under fatigue, testing strength again under stress. You only get 2. Where do you start?
Yeah, my issue with this one is, okay, so you have 2 athletes lifting at one time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the first athlete to lift, you're screwed.
Did they do it based off where you were on the leaderboard? Or did they just do 1 through 10?
Honestly, regardless, whether it was based on your placing in the leaderboard, I guess technically it should have been based on how you finished on the handstand walk. Because if you came everyone comes in on the handstand walk and you're working for that amount of time, everyone has 1 minute and 40 seconds, then someone gets to go right then. But if there's, let's say, 10 athletes on the floor, then you get to wait basically another minute if you're like the last athlete to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of rest.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And if we're talking maximal effort for a 1 rep max or 1
I
rep
think we
lift,
talked about that year.
Yeah, that's a big deal. You have any amount
Huge
of reps
deal.
more than in someone else in a 1 attempt lift.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking. You get all physiological speaking here, the ATP that you have to be able to work with over someone else is a big deal if you have 2 equally strength athletes. And so that right there it's an advantage. And so I remember thinking about this. I'm like, why don't they all go? It would be kind of a pain in the ass to judge not to judge, but to watch because everybody's going, but it's fair.
True.
And
the only advantage you should get is because you were faster than everybody. It's like, so if you were faster in the handstand walk, you did get more rest, but you earned it.
Right.
Not, we're going to give you 5 minutes extra. It wasn't 5 minutes extra, but it's a good 2 or 3 minutes extra.
Well, then, okay, and let's say you're a power athlete and you need to win here. You're not really very gymnastic-y, like going back to event 4. You didn't have the setup where, what if, I take the 3 minutes, I walk whatever I need to walk. So they didn't have a minimum work requirement, I don't believe, on that. So if I'm
getting last anyways.
Yeah, so you get last anyways, and you're like trying to blow your shoulders out. Why not just do like what Katrin did on the pegboard, and you go, all right, I'm going to sit out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll sit out. She did that in the game. I'm going to sit this one out so that I'm completely rested, and I will blow doors on everybody on the lifting event. There's those kind of potholes that pop up on these things. And again, I think the general, when you're putting it together, you don't expect someone to think that way. But sometimes if you're backed against the wall, like that's the only option that you have.
Right.
All right. Well, then I'm just going to rest as long as I have. Or with this one, I hope that I'm the 10th athlete to go, or the 5th pair, or whatever it is, so that I have an extra minute on top of that. Because technically, if you don't do any handstand walking, there's 3 minutes plus an extra minute in 40 seconds, plus another minute on top of that. You got 6 minutes over someone else that was handstand walking and they had to go and lift right away.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, I forgot about this. And the fact that it was only 2, even.
I mean, which again, like that's going to bring the weight down too, because now,
exactly. Yeah. Like that is another. Like day 2 was not good for the strong athletes.
No,
because usually your strong specialists are not the most well conditioned, and then you have like that monster chipper, and then you have the handstand walk, and then you're only allotted 2 attempts. Like, listen, how am I supposed to get to 315 and win this in 2 lifts?
Yeah, you have total of 40 seconds.
Because you still had to do the handstand walk, right? You saw I've been warming up for snatch in the back area. I've been sitting in the corrals for 15 minutes. I did event number 4 and walked to my hands. And now I've been sitting here cold or isolated, and I have to get the max lift in 2 jumps. I forgot how much I didn't like this.
And there went one thumb right in the toilet.
Yeah.
Well, we're starting off on a bad note for the thumb tape awards of this one.
Yeah. Now you're working with 1 2015. Oh man, I forgot about this. I remember how much I liked day 1, and then how much I disliked day 2.
It just day 2, it just seemed very discombobulated, and that doesn't mean the handstand walk was bad to have, and it doesn't mean the 1 rep max snatch was bad to have. It was like the way that they were put together, right? And I think it was because it was. I mean, those 2 pieces were similar from last year. It's like, well, okay, we need to change it, because Dave is always good at tweaking it just enough so it's just outside of what you would normally be used to. So, we'll switch it around this way. And, okay, now you have a very restricted amount of time to be able to get into it. So it's basically checking your your base level strength. Like, you don't have time to warm up for it. You don't have time to get your motor patterns down. Yeah. It's just like, hey, go lift that thing up right now, ready to go. Not go and, try to game it. And you have to try to game it, but right. I think that's what it was. And it was just a very weird mix of pieces.
It was one of those, because like we said, Dave usually does a good job of seeing what happened and then tweaking it to change the test or flip it on people.
Yeah.
And it was a rare time where I was just like, no, that was look, you're going to miss. But yeah, day 2, weird day. And that brings us to day number 3. And as weird and meh as day 2 was about as exciting and awesome as day 3 was. And it kicked off with event number 6 with 5 rounds for time, 25 cal row, 16 chest to bar pull-ups, and then 9 strict deficit handstand push-ups. And a lot of this really just centered around your strict deficit capacity. That was the gatekeeper, because we saw a lot of people just like, the row wasn't the race, but if you could handle just like a decent pace, chest to bar pull-ups typically were unbroken. And then it just came down to who had the deficit. Strict was one thing. We had strict the previous year in 84 total reps of strict handstand push-ups, which was it 80? No, 64. 54. My goodness. 54. Sorry. 21, 59, 6.
Yeah. Yep.
54. In this, you have 45. And I think that number got lost on people. Because 9. I'm like, no, it's 45. Strict deficit after your row, after your pull-ups, and good luck. And a lot of people, a lot of people got jammed up on those handstand push-ups.
It buried them. I think the number of 9 was a great pick because, again, it did exactly what it's supposed to do, which is lull people in to a bad place. And handstand push-ups is one of those movements. Gymnastic movements are classic with this. Is if you don't come down well before you need to come down, then you're going to spend a lot of time just sitting there staring at the wall or staring at the rings or staring whatever the gymnastic piece is and be like, well, I'm not tired. I just can't do it. Like,
yep,
the oomph is gone. Like, I don't have it anymore to do anything. So, like, I really like that number. And it was, and the regionals is great because it does have athletes are really trying to make a name for themselves. Mm-hmm. So they just get after it. So it's 9. Man. Oh, I will do 9. If it was over 10, I would break it up. But 9, I'm going
single digits, bro.
I'm going to do that.
Single digits.
We'll see you in round 3.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it was. We were like, on our broadcast, I just remember it's like round 1, round 2, round 3. And then that's when you see like that 3-second lockout for the first time.
Yeah.
You're like, enjoy your singles in round 4.
But I loved what it was though. Like I like the pulling part, the pulling and the pushing. I thought that was awesome. I wish if we go back to that event 3, do something like this. Like if you would have made this one shot deal, 125 row cal, row, and then 90 chest to bar, and then 45 strict deficit handstand push up. It like that would have had the feel of what event 3 was, which is, did you just throw them in the mud to throw them in the mud? Like what were you trying to do on that? Like they can only go so fast now.
That's true.
I like the way that this was broken up. I think that was cool. And, again, the cap was at 16 minutes on this.
Yes. And I think that's one of those where the cap had a major effect on how people actually had to approach the event.
Yeah, totally. Which we haven't seen in a lot of the other events up to this point. I mean, so in event 3, there were people that got capped out on that.
A lot of people got capped on that.
But I mean, most of the time, for the good athletes, the cap isn't even relevant. This one was relevant.
Yeah, because usually you're like, okay, the smart competitor is like, okay, I got to break up the handstand push-ups because it's going to get hard later, and I got a lot of interference with the row and the pull-ups. But the cap was so short.
Yeah.
16 minutes. That's 5 rounds. So you have 312 per round.
Yeah.
When a minute 30 seconds of it is taken by the row.
Yep.
And then another 30 seconds, if you're going to do a break, maybe 40 seconds. Like, okay, now you have 1 minute to do 9 strict deficit handstand push-ups round after round after round.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was I like this event. This was a fun one. I remember doing this one afterwards, and I think I got capped at like 3.5 rounds. I'm like, son of a bitch. I am not as good as I once was. No wonder I didn't make regionals this year. But it was good. And this was it definitely did not play to the favor of the big boys. Mm-mm. Like, oh, row, chest to bar pull-ups. I mean, chest to bar pull-ups for anybody at this level is really not, there's not too much different, even if it's like small guy, big guy, or, small girl, big girl. But the deficit handstand push-ups, total game changer.
Oh, man, that was the whole event.
All right, event 6, and now we move into event 7. Dare I say, one of the more exciting finales ever.
I would venture to say that. Yeah, it was an interesting one and super fun to watch.
Oh, man. So we have
a lot of gaming.
Oh, super gaming. 15 ring muscle ups, 5 cleans. They have to be squat cleans?
I don't think it had to be.
I can't remember. Let's see. Rules. They have a nice rule book.
Squat clean. Yep.
Squat clean. Yep. Squat cleans. Men 205, 225, 245, 255, 265 Which sounds light when you look at it now. 135, 145, 155, 165, 175. But they were using those short bars.
Yeah.
And I believe the women, like they didn't have a women's short bar diameter. I think the first one they came out with is actually recently.
Yeah.
Maybe at the games, because usually those short bars they use at regionals of the games are just the same thickness as the men do.
Right.
And if you've never used one, there's a massive difference between using like a normal Olympic lifting bar than a short bar. And it made those weights drastically different.
And it's weird because I know that a lot of the athletes are used to the colored weights. I would venture to say that just because you see the heavier weights on the bar, like automatically, your mind sets into it should be this weight, even though you know it's lighter.
Yeah,
so like this feels so heavy, and it's only whatever 100 and
225
pounds. Like, what the heck is the problem here? I love this because of the fact that it was basically two different types of events shoved together. Like you had 15 muscle ups. Was on the guy's side. It rode that line of okay, and we're talking back then 2015. Who's going to do these unbroken? Because if you can do them unbroken, you have a massive advantage. And if you're one of the lighter athletes, the Cody Andersons, the smaller athletes, like those guys, it was like, oh sweet, I'm going to get out in front, which is good because I need to get out in front for those heavier weights down at the end. Whereas you have the bigger athletes, and I mean, one of the guys that blew my doors off on this one was like Sam Dancer. I remember he did so well on the ring muscle ups, and it's like, well, you guys are screwed.
Right.
Like, you guys are screwed because those weights are like a waste of time for him almost. So, seeing
like, do I have to squat these?
Yeah. It's like, that's fine. Can I just do it with one arm? How about one leg? I'll just do it with one leg. I just loved how that was put together like that. And it went from a R version of super high skill gymnastic to now you need to be strong. You need to be technical with your cleans because of all the weekend that we've already had. There's already been a lot of work. And now here you are grabbing this bar and having to do it not just heavy, but you have to do it fast. And, and a lot of these athletes if they weren't games athletes, they haven't had the experience, at least competitive experience with doing these speed clean ladder setups. Yeah. So I think it was just a really fun way to put those two things together. I love the connection. My first look at it when I first saw it was like, why the hell would you put these two together? Because like all of a sudden now, especially on the women's side, it was like, well, now this whole thing becomes a muscle up event because if someone can get close to that, like that's going to be a big deal. And if you come off the rings, right there's 30 seconds. Like you're not getting back up on the rings in like 10 seconds. Which is the time it would take to go and lift a bar, as you would. So there was a lot of that stuff that was planned, but the design, it actually played out really well. And you've said this before, like what it looks like on paper versus how it plays out on the field. And it was a very fun to watch, great finale, great race.
Oh, great races.
And in a really good way to connect it. I mean, like even though they had these weights used for the clean, I wish they would have done, instead of having the 1 rep max lift, I wish they would have done like a clean and jerk for that and just taken the snatch out. Since we'd already snatched.
Right, we have.
So, I mean, like, why not? Even though we've gone heavy on the squat clean here, you could still have a clean and jerk. That'd be all right, I would think. But awesome event 7.
I agree.
Awesome.
I thought it was super fun. We had some amazing races. This is one of those, again, fast and furious finales that we are starting to trend into after the last 2 years. I mean, we had the pull-ups and overhead squats last year, and now we have the muscle-ups and clean ladder this year. And obviously ladders are super fun to watch because you see people screaming off the rings, racing to the bar, tripping over your barbells, getting to the last one and failing, or someone is sneaking in. There's so many fun races from top to bottom. I remember getting in an argument with Shree Chan about what the women would do.
Oh, yeah. They're all going to go unbroken.
Oh, they're all going to go unbroken. I'm like, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
None of them are. Let's make that bet now. I'll give you a guess who won that one. I was like, I wasn't actively cheering against any of the women to not go unbroken, but there was part of me, I was like, good. I was right. I told you. But it was super fun. I remember trying this, and I was in Copenhagen. We're like, hey, let's just do a workout. And I think this was after Saturday. So this is after Sunday. So this one, it was all over. And we're just like, I just did it with deadlifts, and it was still hard. I was like, how are they cleaning this? Because, I mean, the bar did make a big difference. It's funny how much it did, at least, well, especially back then. Yeah. We weren't used to it. Now people have them and they're used to it and they're training with them. But that was cool. So Sunday is a great day. So we look at 7 events over 3 days of competition. And then we look at how the workouts shaked out. We had a very fast event 1, strictly barbell, just power output, lightweight. Still low volume. I mean, 75 reps. That's a low volume event in totality. And then you move to the 2 Tommy V thrusters at a moderate weight, moderate to light, 115 and 75 with these athletes, even if it was in 2015. The high volume rope climbs, though, that was the big separator there. Event 3, just all of it.
Question mark.
Event 4, handstand walk, testing your isolated gymnastics movement. Event 5, you got your max snatch, even though it was only 2 lifts directly after a handstand walk. Event 6, row, chest to bar, little push-pull of the gymnastics. Great little classic CrossFit couplet, and then that fast muscle up and clean ladder. So, I mean, you got some pulling with the ropes. Well, not some. Gymnastics, if you look at that, pulls with the rope. You have pulls with the chest to bar, pull with the muscle up, push with the handstand push up, push with the handstand walk. You got core in the Ghc Sit Up. That's, box jumps. There's some decent balance, pull and push between those two. The barbell movements, I mean, you have the light ground to overhead at the snatch. You got the full movement with the squat press of the thruster, overhead squat weight. 50 reps at 135, not light. The sumo deadlift high pulls, even though it was kind of weird, that does kind of fill that gap. Because if you think the 75 power snatch you had at Randy, right? Ground to overhead.
Right.
And this one is like ground to shoulder. Right. Ground to your head. 50 reps at 135 and 95. The max snatch, only 2 reps. But then you had the cleans from the floor. A lot of different ways to use the bar, which I thought they did a good job of spreading that around.
Yeah.
When you take the pieces apart, you got fast event 1, fast event 7, although event 1 was way faster than event 7. 2 mid-range times between events 2 and 6, long event in 3 and 4, and then you have those isolated movements in 4 and 5. But I think when you look at the overall, you just have to see how it all fits. And the question is, like, are we advancing? Right? Are we progressing with the programming as the athletes do as well? And that when I take a step back, I think that's the first question I ask myself when I look at this.
And how do you answer it?
Well,
or do you want me to give mine first?
I believe it's your turn, sir.
Turn.
Yeah,
okay.
Give me your little overview.
All right, so we'll take that question that you posed of are we advancing, and I do think that we are advancing. I'd say the change in the scoring. I think that was a plus in the right direction.
Yeah.
I do, with the sweeping generalization, I'll say that I really like 4 of the 7.
Yes.
Event 4 and 5, I don't have a problem with the events themselves, other than the way that they are put together. I think that the attempt of trying to change those up a little bit, it didn't hit the mark. Mm-hmm. But I think that as far as what the weights are, we're advancing. I think the numbers of volume, or the volume of reps of the movements that we're using, we're advancing. So I do think that it does show advancement. However, with that, I mean, Saturday honestly just messes it up for me. When you stand back and look at this whole thing, I feel okay. There's a couple things. I think Saturday, just on the whole, is a glaring hole. Not to say that there wasn't a test on event number 3. There was. I mean, everyone got on the line and everybody went for it, and you saw who was able to, get the best results out of that. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't think that it fit like it could have, or how some of the other events in previous regionals would have done. I think we could have done a lot more out of that. For a chipper, I think that this is probably one of the worst chippers we've had, because it doesn't make sense. Is it hard? Yeah. Was that the?
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay. Check. You got it, man. You got it. But when I look at the time frames, I really think that we're missing a long one. Even though event 3 was a long one, you're running for the most part at such a low intensity that it doesn't feel like a long that counts.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I think if we were going to do, you could have done the same thing and said, I think you would have had a better showing if you would have said, all right, we're going to do a 5K run, and every kilometer you got to do 25 burpees or something, something like that, where it's not a whole lot of stuff, but you have the time frame, you have a little bit higher intensity, you're able to showcase a little bit more. This is,
you know what? Yes, well, look at what we did on Saturday.
Yeah,
we had isolated gymnastics, isolated weightlifting.
Yeah, maybe
we should have just done that.
I mean, it would have fit, because we had in the event 3, you have the mile run, you have the box jump over. It's okay, I know there's gymnastic, but it's the same. It's like the double under thing. It fits very much into that monostructural sort of setup. Why not just do something like, I think that would have worked better. And you could have made that a longer event. It would have been, even though watching running on a true form would have been boring. It could have been boring. I'll say that, because we've seen and done long ass row events, and those are some of the funnest events I've had to call.
Right,
honestly.
right. Oh, that's true. That's true. That's one of your favorites.
But I think we would have gotten a lot more out of that, which then would have made the long event count. I just don't think that this one counted. So for me, I'm going to give it my Element 26 thumb review. And I honestly got to go. I'm just going to give it 1 thumb.
Ooh.
I mean, and I don't mean that to sound brutal, because the events that were there on the the bookends of the events, I loved. But I feel that, like, between 4 events that worked and 3 events that really, to me, didn't work, I have to almost take off a whole thumb. And I think that was, I mean, it was a big black eye, I think. I loved the other events. I thought, but I don't think the weekend as a whole wasn't well-rounded enough. I don't think it did what it was supposed to do.
Okay.
I think I missed it.
Yeah. Saturday just bothers me.
Yeah.
I forgot how much it bothered me at the time. Like event 3, I was like, okay, whatever. Like if you just want a hard slog fest, it's just tough and get through it. Like that's your goal. Fine. But 4 and 5, I remember vividly now how much I really didn't like the format.
Yeah.
Not the tests.
And see, that's what's weird. Is like,
right?
Those 2 pieces aren't bad.
Yeah.
But how they were put in there, it's like now they don't count.
Yeah.
The right way.
Like that event 5, it reads 1 rep max snatch. That was not a 1 rep max snatch.
No.
Some guys somehow pulled it out in 2 lifts.
Yeah.
But yeah, an event like day 1, hero day, like I said before,
awesome.
Cool, super fun.
I got my flags waving. Right?
Yeah, great way to start the weekend. Sunday, just classic CrossFit.
Totally awesome.
I mean, like .com plus a fun regional finale where the best of both. Right, you have great gymnastics and great strength. That man or woman is going to win that event, and they should. Kind of like we saw with the pull-ups and the overhead squat from the year before.
You know what?
So simply elegant.
You could almost take Sunday alone and have it be the test, the entire test of the regionals.
Almost, yeah. I'd be curious to see what that was. But yeah, Saturday was just this weird day where, again, there's nothing wrong with testing a handstand walk. You should. It's a cool test to have at regionals. That's part of the fun of regionals. Like, oh, yes, I don't really get to do this.
Yeah.
And, snatching, whatever. But we also already did that a year ago. We already did this test. And it's not a retest because it's not even the same test. And all the weird things we were saying about last year's test did not get improved this year. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They didn't. And then event 3 was an event 3 is like, listen, I would just like to know what the purpose of event 3 was. Because if the answer is like, listen, we just want something long and tough and just like you say, run through mud to get as far as you can. I'm like, okay, mission accomplished.
I just don't feel that should never be a qualification at this level to get someone to the games. You should be like, we just need something that's just disgusting and have them slug through. Like, that to me seems like, and I'm not saying that it was a cop out or anything, but like it almost feels like to program a workout. Okay, we just need to have a hard one.
Yeah.
That takes zero intelligence to do. Right. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen.
I know what you're saying.
That have programmed stuff, and it's like, why are you having them do that? Because it's super hard.
Super hard, bro.
That's all you have. Like that is the
break them off.
That is the easiest thing to do in programming. The easiest thing is to overprogram someone, and like just hand them a weight in the pool and say, okay, bye. Like that is not difficult. It is any brand new programmer can do that.
I see.
I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like thank God they put the numbers on there because at least the numbers sort of give it a look of something. But other than that, it's just weird. It doesn't make any sense.
It is. It was just a weird. Saturday was a weird day.
Weird.
Sunday was super fun. Okay, you had one. I feel like the same. Because I think what did I get 2012? I think I was 1.25. Maybe it was just 1. I can't remember what I did.
I don't think we've given a 1 to anybody yet.
Which is weird because
I feel kind of bad doing that now, but I can't. It's too. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, the fact that Saturday is so off base with Friday and Sunday to me makes me want to do the 1.
Yeah. I mean, that's I was leaning that direction before you had mentioned it, and then I'm like, damn it, I don't want to tie, but I can't. Here's the thing. I was like, I can't talk myself up into like 1.25, but I also can't talk myself down into 3/4.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
1, 2, 6, and 7 were great.
Yeah, and they're so different in their own ways. Yeah, 1. I'll give it 1. I mean, like we said, in event 3, as weird as it was, like the person who won didn't suck at CrossFit.
No.
Right? I mean, there's a very fit, tough individual that excelled in that event.
Absolutely.
Now, if the leaderboards were up, we could tell you exactly who did that, but they're still not up, so we can actually give you guys some context about that. But the finale in event 7 was super fun. The way the weekend started with Randy, again, Tommy V was one of those slog fast through, and then the event 6, just that triplet, like it was good. And I'll say those 4 make up for the weird day that was Saturday, and I give it a 1. I'm not saying it was a crap test. I'm not saying the right people didn't qualify to the CrossFit Games. It was just a weird test, a much weirder test than I thought.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny to think about.
Well,
but we said this during the regionals so far. Is like I swear I think about more the Open and then the Games than I do regionals after the fact.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. I was prepping. I must have been really tired yesterday. I was prepping for 2016. So you're like, as we're in the show, and you're like, so we are, going to be analyzing the 2015, and I'm like, Uh-oh.
Oh, like you thought we were doing 2016 when I hit play?
I was all ready to go. So this was a fresh
son of a bitch.
Fresh analysis happening on the fly. So yeah.
You start Googling like event.
I was going to
2015 CrossFit events.
Hey bro, it's 2016, right? I didn't even do it. I was like,
that's funny.
Okay. And then I looked at it, I'm like, shit, we didn't talk about Randy
Son
yet.
of a
God
gun.
dang it.
Son of a gun.
But I will say this, like I actually like doing it that way because then like you're not really coming in with any sort of preconceived thought processes. It's like today, like this one really for me today came out as everyone listening. You got it fresh. Like it wasn't any anything, no precognition, no. Let me go back and look. I mean, everything was right there. Man, that's crazy.
Maybe I'll do that for 2016. Zero prep.
I'll keep all my notes for that one.
Okay, so you had one.
I got one.
One thumb up. I'll give it one thumb up, which means it passes. We don't hate it. We're not in love with it. There's certain things we really did enjoy. There's a couple things that we thought were just not there.
Yep.
Or we just had questions, and that's just the questions we had after looking back on it. But that was 2015 regionals, a year in review. And I don't remember what 2016 was.
I do.
I do. I can tell you every event right now by memory because I prepped for the wrong season. Oh, man, that's so great.
Man.
That's so great. Well, we'd love to hear what you guys thought about this year after hearing it, whether you watched it, you competed in it, you were coaching, you were following from afar, or this is the first time, like Bill, you've heard it since hitting play on the show. We'd love to hear what you guys thought about that. What is your Element 26 thumb tape review out of 2 thumbs using quarters from 1 quarter all the way up to 2? And we have yet to hit a 2. I'm curious if we're going to get a 2. It has to be a pretty damn good regional to get a 2.
The only reason the other one, like some of the other ones haven't hit 2 is because like, well, the one, it was like, should have just taken that event out. We would have gotten a 2.
Yeah.
Like,
what did we get?
Kind of things. It was so close.
2014. Oh, last year I gave it 1 3/4. I know I did that.
I think I did the year before that.
Yes. 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think you locked off 1 quarter last time because you tore your ACL in 2014. I think that was unfair.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding. Not even true.
I'm just kidding. All right, well, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. The next one we'll be doing is the year of 2016. As always, for our Patreon supporters, let us know what you guys would want us to talk about. We got a few ideas in the works for our next episode for our Patreon followers and just for our Patreon followers. And if you are one of those followers, remember, we just released an episode last week called our Top 5 CrossFit Games Controversies, and that got a lot of buzz. I've gotten a lot of messages that they want us to do another one just to rehash even more. Yeah, part 2.
Let's flesh it all out.
Yeah, maybe down every single controversy.
Well, you know that there would be plenty of content for that. It's not like there would be a ceiling for that kind of stuff. I'm sure there'd be plenty. We could always find something to.
Plenty more that we've had as any sport. Plenty more to come, I am sure.
Oh yeah,
and I'm excited to see what this year has. We just got I saw a tweet 155 days until the Open starts. Ooh,
man, it's scary to put counters on it like that.
I know,
thinking that way.
No, we'll see. I think the first live competition we have coming up next is Rogue Invitational, which will be in Austin, Texas at the end of October. Mm-hmm. And then Dubai CrossFit Championship. They're releasing their athletes. Wadapalooza after that. Man, we're about to hit that little that Triple Crown series
of
those off-season events. So, gosh, October, December, January. Oh, man. That ball is starting to roll. And then before we know it, the Open's going to be here.
Yep.
So come October, we're going to probably hit light speed in the off season. I can't wait because, as always, we will do a breakdown of the programming at Rogue, the programming at Dubai, and the programming at Wadapalooza.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fun off season as we work through our regional series. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Go check out Bub's Naturals, Element 26, and WOD Proof app and do yourselves some favors and get on the train alongside with us. Bill?
Sir.
Is this Thursday?
It is. It's Thursday.
Thursday? Recording this on a Thursday, releasing it on a Friday. Hey, you have yourself a great weekend, sir.
You have a good weekend, too.
You guys as well. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Scene.